Hi there guys, I hope you are all having a good day. Now there seems to be a recurring theme every single year. Floyd Mayweather is going to come out of retirement, and obviously he's done it before, many times. Most recently against UFC star Conor McGregor. Now he won that fight in the 10th round and earned a lot of money. Became 50-0, set new records with money and in the sport of boxing. 50-0, the longest unbeaten run. Now, is Floyd Mayweather ever going to be happy until he loses? Because he seems intent on coming back. He keeps coming back for more all the time. And at one point, it's just going to be too much. Floyd Mayweather in his prime is almost unbeatable. He's the closest to unbeatable that any fighter has ever been in the boxing ring. But can it continue? Especially considering he is getting older and he relies on his reflexes and movement inside the ring. And those things are the first things to go for a fighter. So how long can he continue? He came out of retirement last year. Well, it was an exhibition against Tenshin Nasukawa, and he won that fight in the first round, which was pretty easy for him. It was just a walkover job, and he earned a lot of money. It was an exhibition, so it didn't count towards his 50-0 record. But now he is considering the idea of coming back and fighting in the boxing ring again in 2020. A 2-fight deal with UFC's Dana White. Zuffa Boxing, he is going to be fighting under. Now, is this a good idea? No, I don't believe so. He said he's going to come back and fight a UFC star and someone else, hinting at the Manny Pacquiao rematch. Big mistake, bad idea in my opinion. Obviously if he was still active, it would be a fair fight. But Manny Pacquiao hasn't necessarily diminished over time. He's still looking very good, and he put in one of his best career performances against Keith Thurman, winning that fight very convincingly. So is it even a fair fight if Floyd Mayweather went back in there with Manny Pacquiao? In my opinion, no, I don't believe it is, because Manny Pacquiao is active. Manny Pacquiao still is in, not the prime of his career, but he's still performing at a top level and beating young, hungry challengers, or the champion at the time, Keith Thurman. Now, obviously, Floyd Mayweather has been inactive. He retired in 2015, came back in 2017 against a UFC fighter, Conor McGregor. Now, obviously, UFC is completely different to boxing, and Conor McGregor, there was no technique in his punches at all. Anything that landed wouldn't have taken all that much of an effect because he just didn't know how to punch in those bigger gloves. So ultimately, Floyd Mayweather has not been competing at the same level as Manny Pacquiao for a number of years. So that rematch is a very bad idea in my opinion. Now obviously the UFC fighters, that's not such a bad idea because he can quite easily outbox them because they're used to fighting in a cage and they're used to fighting with those smaller gloves. So they won't be accustomed to the technique of throwing with big boxing gloves on. I know 10-ounce or 8-ounce gloves aren't that big in boxing, but they are if you consider the gloves that UFC stars wear. They're about 2 or 4 ounces. So obviously it requires a completely different technique in order to throw those punches in different gloves. And obviously UFC stars won't be accustomed to that in the boxing ring. So obviously if you match up the activity of the UFC star and the inactivity of Floyd Mayweather, then it's an even fight because the UFC stars, as I said, won't possess the same technique and ability in the boxing ring, but they will be active. Whereas Floyd Mayweather has those skills and abilities in abundance, but also he's inactive. So it kind of makes it an even kill, an even fight, and makes it fair for Floyd Mayweather. So those are the kind of fights I think he should take if he were to come back in 2020. But obviously, he seems hell-bent on returning, and I'm starting to wonder whether he will just not be satisfied and he will not retire until he does take a loss, because that just seems to be what he is waiting for, because he just keeps coming back for more. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Floyd Mayweather's return to the boxing ring in 2020. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.